Okay. So the class is being recorded, and my name is Dr. Sam Abdul Jalil, and this is EA300B summer, and this marks this is the sixth class, right? This is number six. Been doing this for 2 long weeks now, and today, inshallah, we're finishing off the other side of truth, so that we can kind of schedule a number of revision classes. Can be before we proceed, I would like to ask you about the midterm. When is, and I don't remember the date. If you have the date handy, come to the mic and share it with us. When is the midterm, ya Jamaa?
It's 8th of July, Doctor.
It's on July 8th, which is how
Tuesday.
Tuesday, which means that we're going to meet twice before the midterm, right?
Today's class
Well,
and next Monday's class.
mm, no, if it's Wednesday, I mean you're saying it's Wednesday next week, right?
No, Tuesday, Doctor. 8th of
Tuesday,
July is Tuesday.
okay, Tuesday. طيب, ممتاز. Which means that we have one long class, and we can do lots of things. We can revise and everything, inshallah. Okay, so today what do we have on the agenda? Like I said, it's the other side of truth. We started the other day, which was yesterday. We did a lot of things. We did a lot of digging into what the other side of truth means and stands for and stuff like that. So let's talk about that. The other side of truth. I don't know whether you have started reading the novel or not. Do you intend to read it, or you're going to perhaps settle for a good summary of it? Again, it's perhaps reading it, and we still have time, by the way, would be very beneficial given the fact that we normally have a close reading exercise in the midterm on and about the other side of truth. The good news with close reading in EA300B is that we don't normally ask you to kind of identify the passage and tell us where it is from and who is speaking to. We give you all these details. What we need from you is close reading and deep analysis and kind of setting the passage in context and kind of tying it up with whatever came before and whatever came after and underlying the significance and stuff like that. So close reading is a very good exercise if you know how to do it, and I trust by now you know how to do. We'll have time to perhaps practice that. So how much do we know about the other side of truth now that we have kind of spoken about it before? So when I say the other side of truth, what kind of ideas does it evoke? Can you come to the mic and share?
Yes, Doctor, may I?
Yes, yeah. What's your name? Maha? Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
Doctor. The novel written by Beverly Nato, and it is about the political oppression, racial discrimination, and government and immigration. The author speaks from her point of view and personal experience of all these circumstances, and expressing the suffering of the people around her from all these circumstances since her childhood, when she and her brother were activates against the oppression of the governments front of the black people. and she was exiled from her country due to these circumstances. These circumstances.
Yes, thank you, Maha. Thank you so much. Yeah, Nagwa.
Yes, the other side of the truth talks about the journey or the struggles of like two siblings, and particularly their father, which is the result of their father trying to speak the truth and the danger they face, and all is the result of their father being an activist and a journalist who fights for the truth and is not afraid of telling the truth. And yeah, it basically tells the journey of and their struggles and how they face the challenges, and at the end they like meet up and everything is solved.
Yeah, nice. So it's realistic, right? It talks about issues that we're grappling with nowadays, right? Political oppression,
Yes, it still has
lack
been
of
happening.
freedom of speech, coup d'etats in third world countries in Africa and some parts of Asia, right? So these are resonant issues, issues that we can easily relate to. Which brings me to perhaps ask you about a favorite. If you have to choose between or one of the three works, two picture books and this novel, which of them is your favorite and why? Come to the mic and share.
Can I, doctor?
Yes, go ahead, Yanis.
I think Peter Rabbit. Because I think it's simple, like,
Mhm.
and I can focus on the pictures. Like I can understand the pictures and analyze it
Obviously.
also.
So you're not talking from the perspective of somebody who is walking into the exam next one. I'm not talking about this aspect. I'm talking more about the human level of things. The
The
whether
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 which of
which
can you mute
can
your
you
mic?
mute your mic?
So again, I'm talking on a different level, the human level. Which of them relates more to you? Which of them is more resonant when it comes to the issues and the ideas? Um, okay. So do we have other people having favorites?
Yes, doctor.
Yeah, go
I
ahead,
think
Yamaha.
the most favorite is the other side of the truth because it has a deep meaning.
Hmm.
Because it talk about different problems and different situation like racial discrimination, the childhood, and the, I think the most thing I love it in this novel is uh, most of there are some people where the voice for voiceless people.
Yeah,
This
I
is
mean, giving
unique.
voice to voiceless people. I mean,
Yeah,
people
yeah,
are normally thrown into situations that they cannot
exactly.
change or negotiate. And novels like these are shedding light on them, telling them that, listen, there are people out there who are deprived of the rights to speak, to express themselves, to move freely in their country. Yeah, it's resonant in this sense. I agree. Thank you so much, Maha. Nagwa?
To me personally, I am more inclined to Voices in the Park, because it deals with like the emotional aspects and the way people face life, and how sometimes the emotions or the psychology of human beings are overlooked, like the boy and the way he is. I wouldn't say oppressed, but the way he has to follow like strict rules that are set by his mother, some
Mm,
realistic struggles. The father not finding work, and also it is in some way hopeful in the perspective of Smudge. in the perspective of Smudge, we see like even though there are struggles, there is hope, and like a positive person can change. Like we see how Charles in some way changes and hopes to see Smudge again. So it's somewhat hopeful and to me realistic also in a way.
Yeah, interesting. Thank you, Nagwa. Thank you so much. Any other take on which is a favorite among people? Right. Interesting. Again, that's the other side of truth. And we, when we spoke about it yesterday, we spoke about a number of issues. Spoke about, like I said, freedom of speech and the lack thereof. Spoke about parenting, or good parenting and the lack thereof. We spoke about honesty and the lack thereof. We spoke about, stability and the lack thereof. We spoke about this movement from one country to another, hoping against hope that you're going to find a safe haven. You're going to find a country that where rights are safeguarded, where you can freely speak your mind, you can have access to even a uh, basics of life. Obviously, we have an example, we have a model that people were looking up to, which was England. Again, the novel is about whether England lives to the measures up to the expectations of the people who seek sanctuary there or not. And from our experience in the novel, the answer is no. England and now America are not the beacons of democracy. They are not, the safe havens that lots of people kind of thought of. You go there, and this specter of deportation is always there. I mean, at the least provocation, you cannot speak, you cannot express yourself. And they have tightened their grips on immigration procedures and all those kind. So these are issues. These are very realistic issues, and that's perhaps why the novel resonates very well with lots of us, with lots of people. We are here are either, some of us are immigrants, some of us left their countries for a variety of reasons. So it can be relatable to some of us even. So this is perhaps one reason why lots of people may kind of find it very appealing, and also the idea of parenting and how we raise our kids, because this we are all also, not all, of course, some of us are parents and we have kids, and we have different parenting styles, and we may differ on how to kind of raise a kid. For some of us, honesty and total honesty is the best policy. For other people, kind of uh, training their kids as how they can negotiate their way through life and navigate the complexities of life is perhaps more important. So these are again issues that are very relatable. Um, Again, when we speak about the other side of truth, we talk about child agencies. Agency, the word agency means that you take matters into your own hands. And obviously, you have been let down and betrayed by your society. You feel betrayed. But instead of like kind of succumbing to the circumstances and have this feeling of resignation that nothing will happen and you have to submit to your lot. I mean, you try to effect changes. So you try to take matters into your own hand. or hands. This is what agency is. So what we're seeing here is not women agency, for example. What we're seeing here is not black agency or something. It's child agency, where the child who should be protected and his rights, his or her rights be safeguarded, is put under extreme pressure. Those kids are left to fend for themselves. They are left to their own devices. And it's up to them whether to submit and resign to their fates or effect the changes. And obviously, they chose to resist this urge to resign to circumstances. She had tried her best. She went even against what her father and her parents used to say about truth as being sacred, the fact that you shouldn't be under any circumstances, you shouldn't be economical with the truth, which means that you shouldn't show any signs of dishonesty at whatever cost. So this is what she was, um, kind of fighting. She had this internal conflict within her, whether to follow her father and her parents' advice as I mean, she has to obviously stick to the truth no matter what, or perhaps she has to bend and for the wind, perhaps she has to manipulate and kind of maneuver so that for a nobler purpose. Because what was at stake was the life of her own father. So she was tested and she was tested hard, but she came out and she emerged victorious in this battle between being strict in telling the truth and being kind of flexible, sometimes allowing for things to happen um, for a nobler cause. So this is one of the issues that we also have uh, in the novel. Last time, if you still remember, I shared with you the files that we are discussing in the novel, and I'm sharing them again. And if you look at them, you're going to find that some of them stand out as very important. Again, perhaps paramount among them would be the idea of truth telling. And with truth telling, you're talking about different layers. You're talking about truth telling on the individual level, where people are either lying or not lying, and why would they lie and why they wouldn't, and all these kinds of questions. On the professional level, when it comes to truth telling, we're talking about exposing hypocrisy and corruption. And of course, corruption involves not telling the truth, hiding something, pretending that something is when it isn't. So, and in order for I mean, it takes a whole profession to expose corruption and lying and dishonesty, and this is what we call um, this is of course journalism. And what kind of journalism it is? It is called fearless reporting, and this is happening in the other side of truth, where, as you can see, the father is an investigative journalist and he tries to expose the corruption of the military regime in Nigeria at the time. Again, this is good and everything, but of course we have our own reservations because he is only an individual in a sea of corruption. So unless you know when and how to manage the battle and the wars, and obviously you're exposing the corruption of a whole government body, and of course, governments normally have all the institutions, and they have monopoly over violence. They can harm you unless you choose when and how to kind of uh, to fight against them. So obviously, from the experience in the novel, the father didn't choose the right time, and he didn't do it very well. And the end result is that we have the wife or the mother assassinated, and the whole family fleeing for their lives and seeking sanctuary in England. So again, we're stressing that this is part of the big project that we call truth telling. And again, we talk about this on the personal level where people navigate the complexity of whether to tell the truth or to withhold it, and the conflict that will ensue within people. You have this internal conflict between telling the truth, and this can be consequential, or not telling the truth for a nobler cause. Again, like I said, on the professional level, you would associate truth telling with exposing corruption, and that would be the role of journalism and the overall role of media. Media also features very prominently in the novel, the role of the media and the different roles that media plays, whether it informs us, whether it protects our rights, it gives those who don't have a voice a voice. So these are the different roles of media. I mean, it can also be used as a tool of control and propaganda. So these are all ideas that the novel grapples with. Again, there is also this idea of parenting and what effective and good parenting is. Again, we have different parenting styles. At one point, you would stick to the idea of, raising your kids against strict principles of honesty, um, and good behavior. You also have other people who have a different, parenting style that depends on the idea of pragmatism and being realistic about life, being uh, kind of able to negotiate things and navigate the complexities of life, and being ready to compromise sometimes. So this is also one of the issues, the idea of parenting. Also, the idea we have this larger issue of whole societies and their moral obligations and responsibilities towards kids. Again, kids, um, yeah, this was a default that we don't have anymore, which is good news. The idea that children used to be taken for granted. We never consult them. We never considered them um, as people who have rational minds, who can think independently. We used to take them for granted, and obviously, this is wrong. you don't train them to face the world and to navigate its complexities. And the end result is that they come out and they find the world a monstrous place. Sometimes they succeed in navigating the complexities of life, and sometimes they fail. So you're not preparing them for the future. You're not preparing them for life. And this is a responsibility that parents and entire societies um, have to kind of shoulder. One of the issues also that the novel um, addresses, because this is part of a larger agenda that Naidu has, is the idea of cultural literacy. And what do I mean by cultural literacy? I mean uh, that, I mean, literacy, we know. Literacy is knowing how to do something, right? What do I mean by cultural? I mean that if you live in a country or in a culture, and if you are illiterate, culturally illiterate, it means that you didn't reach out to other cultures. You don't know who they are and what they do and where they are situated. So cultural literacy, as I know, it means that I am culturally, I am from the Arab world, and I am an Arab, for example. If I am culturally literate, I should know about another culture, like India, for example. I should know where India is, what different states there are, what kind of languages Indians speak, whether they speak one language or 22 official languages, where it is situated on the map, what kind of climate they have, what kind of traditions they have, what kind of literature they produce. So this is called cultural literacy. And this is what Naidu is trying to instill in her young readers. Her readers are mostly white young adults. What she has noticed is that they are quite oblivious to the outside world. They live in their own bubble back there in Western Europe. They don't know whether Africa is a country or a continent. Um, they live a life of privilege. They have all the food there is. They have all all types of uh, luxuries, free education, access to all the amenities of life. Um, what they really lack is knowing that on the other in other parts of the world there are people who don't have access to the basics. Sometimes no food, sometimes no running water, and of course, in Africa and other countries, you don't have freedom of speech, you don't have good governance. So this is what she is also trying to say. She says that I am going to entertain and amuse, because this is what art or this is what art is partly is. The other part is that I am going to instruct. So it's instruction and delight. Instruction and instructing here means that she is going to allow her readers to develop this cultural literacy thing, where they have to empathize, they have to feel what other people in other cultures are feeling, the lack of basic necessities, the lack of education, the lack of good governance, and all these kinds of things. So this was high on on her agenda, as a matter of fact. Um, so again, the focus, like I said, would be on the role of media, would be on truth telling and child agency, would be on responsibilities of parents towards their kids, and also responsibilities of whole societies towards children. So these are some of the most important themes that the novel grapples with and talks about. Remember what I said about fully appreciating what happens in a novel or any piece of work for that matter. We said in order to fully grasp what is happening and to later appreciate what is going on, you need to set the work in context. Context means that you need to know what was happening at the time when the novel was published. The novel was published in 2000, and obviously during the time, and it is set in Nigeria, of course, between Nigeria and England. So, and obviously it is about in Nigerian characters. So, what do we know about this period in Nigeria? We know that Nigeria was under military rule. There was this military ruler by the name of Abashi or Abachi, and it was absolute rule where I mean you don't have the right to express your views. I mean, obviously, the government would take you for granted as a citizen. You're not consulted. You're denied lots of freedoms, the freedom to assemble, the freedom to express your views and thoughts, the freedom to even form parties, political parties, and all those kinds of things. Um, so the novel was written against this background. The novel also is set in Nigeria where political oppression was at its highest. Uh, Political oppression means that you don't have the freedom to talk about the politics of the country, to share ideas. And what happens if you try to do that, if you try to say or tell the quiet part aloud, you have to face the consequences, and they sometimes are very dire. You can find yourself in prison or even killed. So this background is very important because the novel um, has this um, idea to it that the atmosphere is not the best in Nigeria, and that corruption is at all-time high, and somebody has to face up to this corruption. Somebody, some institution. Normally, we leave that to journalism. Journalism is in some countries called the fourth state or state, السلطة الرابعة زي ما يسموها, which means that journalists, when they are serious, are mandated with telling the truth, exposing corruption. But in a country where you don't have political parties, you don't have a peaceful rotation of power. You don't have elections. Obviously, being a journalist is not the best option. Being an investigative journalist is even worse because you're investigating the government, you are exposing its corruption, and obviously the government is not going to stay silent on what you are doing as an investigative journalist. So you will have this struggle between journalists and the government and its different institutions and bodies. There is going to be a great deal of witch hunt. The journalists they are normally between arrested or killed. So it takes courage and guts to have fearless journalists. Again, this is not the question that Naidu is asking about journalism and fearless reporting. What she is perhaps focusing on is how wise people can be in dealing with these barbed issues. I mean, the fact that nobody is undermining the what investigative journalists are doing in exposing corruption and in turning false government narratives on their heads. But perhaps what is more important is how wise the journalist is in choosing when to kind of expose this kind of corruption and how. Again, like I said, this is even something that we take against the father of the two kids. Uh, he, being a journalist, an investigative journalist, is in constant fight and struggle with the government. He is exposing their corrupt practices. And again, this has a cost. What happened is that the government and its agent killed his wife. Perhaps by mistake they wanted to target him and they couldn't. Perhaps they were threatening him. And the bottom line is that we have the mother being a victim of this kind of struggle again against the government, the conflict between the government and the journalist. Um, Again, what is sad is that the mother fell victim and was assassinated and killed. Uh, this is obviously sad. Um, and again, you would of course primarily blame it on the government, but you also would blame it on the father himself, who, uh, um, of course, he knows what kind of people he is dealing with, and he should have calculated so that um, he wouldn't have his wife killed. And this is even what his brother told him at one point. He told him that obviously we love what you're doing, you're exposing corruption, and this is good and everything, but you need to remember that you cannot, expose lies and corruption from the grave. If they decide to kill you today, nobody is going to expose corruption. So he's trying to tell him, we're not differing with you on how important exposing corruption is. The only thing that we take against you is that you are not very wise about it. You're not wise enough. You um, you are only an individual, and obviously you cannot fight the whole system. So, in terms of how strong you are, you're not, and you could have chosen to perhaps expose them from outside the country. So this is one of the issues that the novel is addressing, the idea of fearless reporting, the idea of exposing corruption, the idea of the consequences of kind of facing up to the government. And in this case, it's going to be about the when and the how. Um, so these are some of the issues that the novel grapples with. So I think I've been talking for quite some time. If you have something to share, come to the mic. And if you have any questions. No questions?
Doctor?
Yeah, go ahead.
Me, Doctor.
When we have a close reading question, we
Mm.
should when solve the question, bring some events from the real story, real novel.
Yeah, this is, yeah,
Or
of course. This
analyze.
this is something that you should do. What you also will do, and this is perhaps good news, is that you are going to take the examples that were given to you from the close reading passage itself. Unlike in other courses, we give you a passage that has examples and illustrations in it. So you, while writing your essay on this close reading exercise, you can make use of the examples that we are giving you, together with examples that you may have from other parts of the novel. Yeah, this is what I started with. I said that this is what is interesting about close reading uh, in EA300B. And close reading, by the way, can be a passage from the other side of truth, and it can be a picture from either Voices in the Park or The Tale of Peter Rabbit. Again, we give you the context. Make no mistake about it. What we want you to do is to develop the ideas that we give you, given the context that we're giving you, and come up with a decent piece of writing. See? Mariam, you're raising your hand. Yes.
Yes, doctor. I have a question. While I study for the quiz one tomorrow,
Mm.
I found a question that asking about authority in the tale of Peter Rabbit. They choose Mr. McGregor, but it is not McGregor, right? It is the Mr. Miss Rabbit, the mother.
No, you have
It,
different levels of authority. You have the mother as the I mean, kind of managing the house after the demise and the death of the father. And this is an aspect, and this is a level. You have a different type of authority, as given expression by Mr. McGruger. So Mr. McGruger is also a figure of authority. If you compare him to the small, poor rabbits on the other road. So he is a figure of authority, and Peter was fighting against it.
okay. يعني the twice is authority, but the depend for the situation of the sentence of
Yeah,
the question.
yeah, you have different facets and aspects of authority in
Okay,
The
Doctor, another question.
yeah.
Is include with us the postmodernism of
Well,
illustration, the
yeah.
history of it?
No, not history. I mean, postmodernism is something that you cannot define, but you can detect and recognize and identify.
Okay.
It's about its features. Okay. When I ask you and I say that this is a postmodern piece of work, I mean, I would like you to detect the elements of postmodernism. I spoke about that, remember? When we spoke
Yes.
about this idea of non-linearity in voices in the park, when we spoke about the multiplicity of voices that we have, polyphony, when we spoke about the reversal of gender roles, we spoke about the challenge of or challenging orthodoxies and challenging established orders and norms. So these are all signs of the postmodern invoices in the park. Again, when we spoke about, because we're talking about it, when we spoke about the other side of truth, we said that it is true that it is a postmodern piece of work, but it doesn't have the features in terms of form. Formally, the other side of truth is a traditional novel where you have clear beginning, middle, and a closure at the end. What is perhaps postmodern about the other side of truth is its fresh themes, its ideas. When we talk about parenting, this is obviously new. When we talk about the moral responsibilities of societies towards kids, this is obviously new. When we talk about child agency, this is also new. When we talk about issues of immigration and what it takes to seek asylum in other countries and the trials and the tribulations, this is also quite new. And these are all things that we have seen in the postmodern era. So, in terms of form, the other side of truth is a traditional piece of work, but in terms of content and ideas, it is highly post modern.
Okay,
Um,
Doctor.
okay. Any other
Doctor,
question? Yeah, go ahead.
I have a last question, but I'm sorry, I have a lot of question.
That's fine.
Uh,
That's fine.
uh, I I try to understand what paratext means, or يعني what is يعني as a term or something used in picture books, but I didn't understand it very well. يعني
Yeah.
what is but يعني what is it about paratext?
Yes, that's very interesting, and it's a paratextual the paratextual aspects of any piece of work means that the story or the novel does not start with the words, with once upon a time, or he did, or he did. No, it starts way back before that. It starts with the cover page. It starts with the back cover at the end of the book. It starts with the title and how the title is written, the different fonts used, the biographical information about the author, the copyright details, when this piece of work was published, and by which publication house. All these details are called paratext. And all these paratextual details are very important because they inform our understanding of any piece of work. They are not limited to picture books. You can even apply them to any piece of work. Again, you don't start with the word. You start way back with the cover page and the back cover and and the illustrations on the cover page, and again, the biographical details and the copyright details and all those kinds. This is what we mean by para text. Okay.
Thank you,
Right.
Doctor. Thank you.
You're welcome. We'll take a 10-minute break, and then when we come back, we'll continue, inshallah. Yalla, I'll see you in 10 minutes. Salam alaikum. Okay, so are we back?
Yes, doctor.
Okay, right, this. So again, it's the other side of truth that we're doing, and this is the third piece of work that we're doing, and let me just alert you to the fact that the midterm exam is going to cover all three. It's going to cover the two picture books and the other side of truth. So how many questions are we going to answer? You're going to answer kind of three questions. Of course, you know that the exam is divided into two sections. There is a section on short answers and a section on long answers, SE questions. So in the short answer questions, you will have three questions, and you're supposed to attempt two of them. They can be definitions and they can be concepts and ideas. So two you're supposed to do, and you go to the essay question part where you're normally given two essay questions and you're supposed to answer one of them. One of them happens to be uh, a close reading question, whether it can be a picture from the picture books or a passage from the other side of truth. Again, if you are going to attempt the close reading question, whether it's a picture or a passage, you need to write a full essay, not a paragraph or two. And I am warning you from now. In the passage or in the close reading part, whether it's a passage or a picture, I would like you to write a whole essay. A whole essay does not mean half a page or a page. Write at least 2 pages. Okay. Okay, so let me tell you about my requirements. Yeah, in order to write answers that are good, that can earn you marks, you need to follow guidelines, and I'm giving you the guidelines now. In the short as the short answer part, I would like you to write at least half a page. So if you have two short answers to or questions to answer, I'm expecting a full page for the two questions, for the two small questions. You write a paragraph or less than that, no, this is not acceptable, and you have yourself to blame then. You don't write a couple of sentences or a couple of lines and you tell me this is a short answer. No, I don't accept that. Okay, for the answer to be comprehensive, shamla, it has to be relevant. You provide a definition, perhaps, of the thing. You set a context. You provide examples. And you use clear language. That does not happen in a couple of lines or sentences. I promise you. Okay, so half a page for each small or short answer. And then we move on at least half a page. If you can write more, but not a whole essay, not 2 pages or 3 pages, because keep in mind that this is a short answer. So half a page would be fine. 3/4 of a page, that would also be, but not less than that. And then you move to the second part of the exam, which is essays. And my concept of an essay is that it it's not it shouldn't be less uh, than 2 pages and a half or 3 pages. Again, we know what we're giving you. We're giving you questions that are significant, that needs elaboration, that needs you to provide examples, to engage in like some kind of argument. And this does not happen in a page, mind you. That doesn't happen in half a page or a page and a half. Okay, at least 2 pages and a half. This is as far as the long answer part is concerned. Okay, and if I ask you in the first part to write or to answer two short answers, you don't answer all the questions. No, this is a mistake and a trap that lots of people fall into. What I do is that I kind of mark the first two and I leave the third one. It can be, the third one can be your best. So focus your energies on what is required. Okay. Um, yeah, I think we're open to questions. If you have any questions about that, come to the mic.
All clear, Doctor.
Uh,
Doctor, close reading.
Mm-hmm.
It's take the example from the passage مثلا scam.
I said, yeah, that you can depend on that, but if you have other examples that you can integrate into the answer, that would also be good.
Okay.
Doctor, I have a question, please.
Yeah, go ahead.
In the midterm, the long essay question, like there will be two questions and we choose one or only one to answer.
Yeah, I mean, there has to be a choice. I'm sure there will be two questions and you choose to write on one of them.
Oh, okay. Got it, Doctor. Thank you.
Welcome.
Doctor?
Yeah, go ahead.
Excuse me. If we have picture from picture book question, for example, if we get a picture and we should analyze it from the Peter Hunt or the voice in the park, I think that we can't cover more than one page or 1.5 page to analyze this picture. Is that right?
Analysis can take a page, but I'm talking about the underlying significance. So this analysis will lead you to talk about something more generic, about the theme, the overall theme of the passage. Okay, you tie it to other situations in other parts of the picture book. Because it's not a short answer. If it was a short answer, we would have put it in part A, right? Or part 1.
Yes, doctor.
So you start with the analysis, start with an introduction, inspired but by what you have seen, whether it's a picture or a passage, and then you move on and analyze, and then you talk about the significance of all of that. Obviously,
Doctor,
if you yeah, go
can I,
ahead.
and I added my point of view as a last point.
Add. You
So
don't
I can
use the
cover
two
more than
Ds.
2 pages.
Can I add? Not added. Can I add?
Can I add them? I'm sorry.
Hmm. Add.
Okay,
Add, yeah.
my mistake.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, you wanted to add something. Yani, tell us.
Yes. No. I meant if I add my point of view, so I can cover more than 2 pages.
Yeah, man, it's yeah, this is literature, يا جماعة. Yeah, and you're fourth year, you're graduating. If you are not giving your point of view now, when will you? I mean, خلاص, you're yeah, feel free to give your point of view. That's as long as it is relevant, as long as it is backed up with evidence, that's fine.
Thank you, doctor.
You're welcome. Any more questions about the midterm exam? Did we do the, I'm sorry, did we do the quiz?
Tomorrow إن شاء الله.
tomorrow.
5 p.m.
So the quiz is
Tomorrow
tomorrow,
is the
right?
quiz, Doctor.
طيب ممتاز. It can be a good exercise before the midterm, right? Because it's going to cover both picture books, The Tale of Peter Rabbit and Voices in the Park. Okay. Right, let's go back to the other side of truth. And I think we have covered everything. I need you to read the articles on the other side of truth because they inform the discussion. Again, I need you to read about the background because it also it informs the discussion. I want you to read about Naidu's philosophy, why she writes, why she wrote these novels, and one of them is The Other Side of Truth. Again, it's this idea of instruction and delight. It's this idea of cultural literacy that she is trying to develop in her white readers, empathy, knowing about other parts of the world and how people live their lives. Of course, they are less privileged, but they have uh, a right to life. They are entitled to a good life. Um, Again, when it comes to small details about the other side of truth, we need to know more, perhaps, about the idea of bullying when the kids arrived in England and they were put in a school, they were bullied. And this is where Shade, for example, is going to decide whether to go along and maneuver or stick to what her parents taught her, and obviously she didn't stick to that, and obviously that would lead her to have those eternal and internal struggles and conflicts within her soul and mind, whether to follow what her parents said about honesty and not lying, or going along for nobler causes. Again, at one point, it was pleasing and appeasing uh, um, those who were bullying her and bullying her brother. And at another point, it was when she was in immigration and she was asked to reveal the identity of her father, which she didn't, obviously, because she knew that if they knew, they would deport him and he will be executed back home in Nigeria. So these are the eternal struggles and conflicts that she had to navigate. Also, the media and what she did um, with the media over there, and how media helped her a great deal in spreading the word about their cause, about her father, and the the public were very much uh, responsive and very accommodating. This is the role in the media, Mr. 7-Eleven and what he did. Um, you need to also um, read about child agency and how Jade would navigate the complexities of life, and how she would take matters into her own hands. And this is also very important, and you need to be on the alert about. Again, the novel is full of ideas, and um, I would like you to read. And if you have any questions, of course, you can always reach out on the WhatsApp group, and we can يعني kind of explain things. So what I intend to do, inshallah, when we meet, let me finish first, yeah, Mariam. When we meet, inshallah, next week, it's going to be, like we said, Monday. Um, Half the class will be um, again talking, I mean, revising, and the other half would be giving you texts taken or passages taken from the other side of truth, where we read them closely and highlight things. I think I have a number of revision classes already. You don't have to wait for me You don't have to wait until Monday. I think on my WhatsApp group, not WhatsApp group, my YouTube channel, there is a couple of revision classes from last semester and the semester before. All the ideas apply because we haven't changed anything. I would like you to go there from the. Let me see if I can access that and share it with you. Just give me a second. This is revision 1. I sent it to your email, your WhatsApp, I'm sorry. And I'll send you the second one. Okay, so can you see that?
Yes, doctor.
Okay.
Yes, doctor.
So okay. Hi. I think I'm not going to say anything beyond that. If you have any questions, come to the mic and share it.
No, doctor. Thank you. All
Doctor,
clear.
is there a movie to watch, or can I read the novel, or it is long or it's short, or
Well,
to
if
understand?
I think I don't know whether it was filmed or not. Go to okay, listen, go to Gemini or ChatGPT and ask, and I'm sure you're going to come up with an answer. Ask, I mean, it depends on the prompt. If your prompt is accurate, I mean, tell them or them to check if there is a movie around or based on the other side of truth. And if they say yes, tell them where it is and if it if you can access it. This is the
Okay.
fastest way of doing it. Other than that, I think you still have time to read it, and it's a good read, judging from my experience. Any other questions before we call it a day? Okay, bye. On this note and with this item, we come to the end of today's lovely class, and I'll see you inshallah next week. Assalamu alaikum.
يعطيك ألف
Thank you,
عافية
doctor,
دكتور.
for your
شكرا.
time.
مع السلامة. السلام.